the Giving a Purpose podcast. We talk, you listen. Streaming to the world and beyond, we will talk about all aspects of life. We will host a variety of guests, where each week we will educate, motivate, encourage, and inspire you. Let's get started with your host, Mr. L.A.
Welcome to the Giving a Purpose podcast, where we bridge the highs and lows, the lessons learned through life's journey, and filling in the gap. It's your boy, Mr. L.A. It's a new week, so you already know what that means. New blessings, new opportunities to get it right. Man, just new everything. So we just want to focus on our goals for this week, and we just want to kill it. So, man, I kind of wanted to, I know I talked to you guys earlier about I was kind of going to focus on some new things for the new year. And I kind of wanted to make sure that we know that our students, because everybody knows that, you know, my full-time job is I am a teacher. So, but we want to make sure that our students have a voice. We want to make sure that they understand that they're going through a tough time, something that we've never been through before, and it's something new to them as well. So we also want to give them an opportunity to speak and just, you know, kind of say how everything is going with them, because sometimes we don't give them a voice. A lot of the stuff we're talking about right now, we're focusing on the adults, but we don't focus on the kids and the kind of things that they're going through. So, man, I got a real great person, man, a special guest with me today. Used to teach him. I don't teach him anymore, but one of my former math students. He's still currently a senior at one of the greatest high schools in the nation, Archbishop Carroll High School. Man, y'all give it up for Keith Archer. Say hello, Keith.
What's up, guys? It's nice being here. Thank you for having me.
Man, my man. So listen, Keith, I want you to just be as honest and just, you know, forthcoming as you want to, man. Say what you got to say. You know, we're like family. So I'm always encourage him to try to go to FAM, even though he's been talking about this Syracuse, all this other stuff. But I'm gonna let him be. But so I kind of want to go back. So what was your thinking and what was your mindset like going? Let's take it back to last March. Like, you remember that last week we went in, you know, we had the Jim Vans Media Studio, and that was like the last week. Like, what was your mindset and like what were you thinking going into the pandemic?
For real, like that whole week I was excited because they were like, it's just gonna be an extended spring break. So I was excited for that. And then I was like, once things started to pick up, I was like, okay, it's not gonna really affect me. It more affects the seniors from last year. So I wasn't really like too focused on it. I was just focused on school at the time and getting things done. But the way it's come now, it came a long way. And back then, looking back now, I didn't expect this to be the outcome at all. And going into school, like virtual learning and things, I didn't expect it to be as hard as it was. Because I remember I had a conversation with my dad, and he was like, "Are you excited?" Because I remember last year, like virtual learning, it wasn't that hard. Like, we didn't have to log into Zooms every day. Classes were shorter. So I was excited for it. I was like, all right, if this is my senior year, I know it's not going to be in person, but that's cool. But then when we got to this year and things just totally flipped, like it flipped a switch and things just got hard real fast. And I know I talked to my mom a lot about it and just how it takes a toll on your mental health. And I know, like, getting outside, like I can say I took it for granted because I never knew it was that crucial to how I think and how I am. Like, you can ask my mom, my personality, everything has completely changed. Because now I just sit in my room all day and look at a screen, and it's just it changed completely.
We definitely understand that. So just to kind of give people a kind of, you know, the people that are listening that aren't watching, just to kind of give you guys kind of like a visual. You got to realize for us as a school, we didn't take a break. So Friday, after that Friday, literally that Monday, we went into distance learning. Like, there was no lesson planning for the teachers. It was just, and, you know, there was no little buffer for the students either. It was like, we just didn't go back into the building. It, you know, as far as school was concerned, like, we went straight into teaching. We didn't go into necessarily a spring break or anything like that. We went straight into classes. And, at that point, Keith was still a student of mine. So I just want to know your mindset. Did you think at that time, um, your senior year, we would still be in a pandemic?
I mean, I heard people say it might happen and there was a good chance that it was gonna start out that way, but not finish that way. So I was like, if I have to start it and I'll go back to in school toward the end, I'll chin that one and be like, okay. But no, I completely didn't think this was gonna how it was gonna happen, and I'm just lost of words for how school ended. But I mean, going back to, like you said, I was in your class for the beginning of distance learning, and when I tell you, like, your class is probably one of the easier classes, because I remember I had like government or another, it was one of those classes, and like they just bombarded us with work, and it was just like, okay, we're used to it. But I think some teachers had the mentality that since we were at home, we had all the time in the world to do straight homework and schoolwork, but that's just not the case. Like, coming from a student, that's not the case of how things should go. We still do
Yeah.
like personal time even though we're at home. So yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, first of all, let's clear it up. I'm gonna clear it up. No, my class isn't easy, but I made an adjustment to knowing. Just want to tell people my class is not easy, but I did have to. I understood that this was an adjustment. So I mean, if you listen to my podcast, I talk about that a lot, about making adjustments. But you got to understand, like, everything was new for us. Like, you can't just, all right, take everything that we were doing inside of a building and then, like, all right, now y'all do it, just like that, because we don't know everybody's situation. Some people, I mean, in the world we live in today, if we're being honest, not everybody has internet. Not everybody has, a computer and just different things like that. So we can't just assume we can just take this load because, when you come in the building, we supply you with a book. There is a computer lab and just different things like that that you may have access to, but you know what I'm saying? You being stuck at home and we don't really know what's going on. We're just being told what we see on the news. So we don't know what's going on. So you can't, I felt at that time you couldn't put people in a position to just throw everything at them, but still make it about learning. So you were also, I mean, I'm not sure if you were going to do it this year, but you were also an athlete. Did you kind of, what was going through your mind as far as, things like that?
I had the conversation with my mom many a time. She's been trying to get me to play basketball all my life. So when I told her I planned on like stopping for good this year, she finally understood that it was my time to hang it up and to stop playing. But I also told her, like, I talked to Coach Jersey. He was like, I mean, I know you don't want to play basketball no more, because I've always had problems with my knees and things, and I said it was time. So he asked me, he was like, I you can come on, like, you can come coach with me and we could coach the JV squad. And I was like, hey, they give me something to do, keep me out the house for as long as I could.
That's
And I was
dope.
like, I'd do it. So
Yeah.
I was like, it'd be a fun thing to do, but you see, now I'm at home all the time, so that went out the
So
window.
yeah, so you talked about that earlier. So how is it, first, a couple of questions. So how is it mentally, and what are you doing to kind of, I don't want to say keep your sanity, but like, what are you kind of doing to to kind of keep yourself, I don't want to say normal, but what are you kind of doing to keep yourself
Yeah.
straight for the most part?
Yeah, I
Straight-ish.
get what you're saying. Yeah. It's not that easy nowadays. My routine, it depends. Some days, like with my schedule, I don't have a first block on B days. So those days are a bit easier, and my classes on those days are a bit like, it's kind of a break, you could say. And compared to my A days, like being at home and dealing with school, I'm not gonna lie, I did take a toll on my mental health, and it still does, like today. So all I do is like, I'll try and go out on a drive. I'll drive anywhere I can. Like, driving is the one thing that keeps me sane and like gives me fresh air and lets me get out the house for things like that. Like, I'll
Yeah.
go pick up my brother. He's got school. Like, he's in the third grade, I think, and he has this little pod with like two other friends, and they drive to a teacher's house, and
Oh, wow.
they learn that way. So that's the way he learns. So I'll offer him to my stepmom and to my dad every day. I'll be like, yeah, I'll go get him. I'll go get something to eat, and that's my way of keeping my head in the right space sometimes. And my dad, he's been very understanding of that. He's understood that like
That's good.
this is something
Had
that's
a
not
support.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is that does take some off my shoulders because it's like, okay, you understand that I have to get out the house just so I can keep the same mental space that I've
Yeah.
been in for my whole life. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I go against this
Listen, what you
pandemic.
said was so important. I kind of talked about it last year when I was getting started with the podcast and everything. And one of the most important things you just said was the routine. I knew it was crazy because I'm not, like I said, I've never really experienced it. But there was like when we first started with the pandemic last year, there was like 3 days I was just sad like every day. I just like I don't know like what's going on. It was just like I was just sad for no reason. But like you
That wave
said,
of sadness.
I
That's it.
end up I ended up I was like, you know what? I have to develop a routine. So I got up at the same time. I want to say made it look like I made a routine like I was actually going to work, first of all. So in the morning I had to do stuff like it I couldn't just roll out of bed and like, all right, I'm gonna start teaching. So I got up, I would make myself breakfast, just do certain things to create a routine. I started working out a little bit more and just different things like that. So I think that is so important. And like, what I'm saying, I know you personally and you're just, one of those good kids, but I'm just glad you were able to figure that out. And hopefully most kids are doing it. I think some aren't because, sometimes, life could throw you just different challenges.
Mhm.
But of course, I think that's the most important thing is developing a routine. And like you said, finding something safe to, get out of the house. Like if it's, offering, like you said, to pick up your brother, and just different things like that. Or just I get it. Like sometimes I just gotta drive. It's like, you leave the house like, where you going? Like, I don't know, but I'm not about to sit here. I need a change of scenery. Like, it doesn't even matter right now. Even when my mom calls me favors I wouldn't usually do, I'm like, I'll just go do it. I
I'll
just got to
do
get
it.
out of the
Yeah.
house.
Uh-huh.
So, are there what other things do you include in your routine? Are you like working out or what else do you do?
Uh, yeah, I mean, toward the beginning, I wasn't working out, but like now I've started like since the new year, I made it my resolution to work out every day and to get myself out of bed. But another thing is because recently I used to go like during school, I would go back and forth between my mom's and my dad's, but now I'm
Hmm.
just staying at my dad's like full time since the pandemic and not to like not avoid my grandmother so that I
Yeah,
wouldn't get her sick because it's more of her age people who are getting sick. So
yeah,
I do make it a routine to because they live about a good 30-35 minutes away. So I'll make that drive quite often to the point where now I understand like the whole way to get there, everything, the shortcuts, everything. And I drive out there any chance I can get. I'll bring them food. I do anything I can to just come to see them and also to get out the house and to keep my mind like awake and not to get like you said those sad days that those hit pretty often.
yeah.
But one thing that does like keep me going is I don't remember when I was told this or how early I was told this, but somebody told me it was God throws his toughest challenges at the people he understands can handle them.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
one thing that I
Yeah,
keep to myself every day, and I say, all right, if he thinks I can handle this, I can handle it, and
that's
I'll
good
tackle
stuff,
on
man.
anything that sits in
That
front of
is
me, and I'll do my best.
That's so true. That's so true. That is like real good, man. Like I said, man, Keith is a real good, grounded person. I don't even want to call him a kid now because, eventually, like all seniors, they're going to transition. But I kind of want you to help me out because I've been getting a lot of questions, especially from the juniors. And because it's a different time, I'm not really sure on some of the answers. So, what is applying to college looking like now during the pandemic? Like, what is like, how is that? Because, sometimes, traditionally, some people take visits, some people are, I don't know with the app, with the SAT and the ACT, like, students are asking me questions and I'm like, I honestly, I can't give you an answer because, we've never had anything like this where, we couldn't be in person and do those things. So what is the college, the applying for college process looking like these days?
Yeah, like you said it. You mentioned it toward the beginning about me applying to FAMU. Like I really wanted to. I told you I did. Me and my mom have been trying to figure out any way I could, but they just make you take the ACT or the SAT, and that's just me and my mom both understand that I'm not a good test taker, so that would only hurt me instead of help me. So we decided that we weren't. I mean, it just looks like sitting in front of a computer, applying to colleges, anything you think will fit. Me personally, I only applied to colleges who have like good sports journalism programs or sports broadcasting programs, because that's what I want to do and major in. So that's what it looked like. It's a website named Niche, or NICHE, and you can look at it. Tells you like everything about the colleges, the food, the housing, the community, everything about it. It even has like if it's a good party school and things like that. So that
Oh,
helped
wow.
me in like basically a virtual tour and get to know about the
Got you.
school. And I've heard like I know some of my friends that are in college that go to different colleges. I know my dad went to Syracuse, and a lot of people that it takes a lot of input from other people that have been around these schools or know things about this school that help me in making my decisions of where I want to apply.
Oh, that's awesome. So I just want to make sure I'm not putting my schools on point. So you telling me they're still accepting, they want you to take the SAT and the ACT to get accepted into the school?
Yeah, me and mom, because Howard recently, they said they were allowing people to apply without it just recently. So she said maybe FAMU was too. And we talked about it. I literally made an account and everything yesterday, and we looked at it, we looked into it, and they still make you take the SAT or the ACT, and we
I'm
were
gonna have to
surprised.
talk to some people. I mean, like I said, I'm not putting it on all of Florida, but Florida's a little different right now. I don't think they ever closed. So I don't know what they're doing down there. But you know what I'm saying? Yes, of course I'm kind of biased. Of course FAMU is good. But definitely, man, you always want to go to a good fit. And you kind of, answer some questions that I could kind of help some people because like I said, I didn't know. I mean, I guess it was just an assumption that all of the schools were just probably suspending taking SAT and ACT because they don't. Tell me if you know this. I guess I could ask you this. You're probably more expert on it right now. So, if you did have to take the SAT, how are they administering the SAT now? Is it something you could do at home, or are they socially distancing with the SAT now?
Yeah, I've had multiple friends that said they were taking it, and they were like, what they told me was they have people basically sit like 6 feet apart. You wear a mask throughout the test. You take the test and then you leave. So basically the same way it is. You just socially distance and
Okay.
you wear a
So
mask the whole time.
okay, that's good to know. Like I really thought that that they were just suspending, just like in person stuff like that. So I really didn't know they were still doing SAT. But I mean, I think that's still hard, especially when you can't force somebody to be in a place to take an SAT that, I would think that schools would, I mean, I understand it kind of separates things in your admissions process, and I get that, but I just would have never, just thinking about it, I just thought it would have been, you know, um, they would have just suspended it altogether and just did grades. So it's definitely good to know. So let me ask you this, because things are coming up. You don't get to hear my speeches anymore in class, and stuff like that. But um, are you disappointed about prom and graduation or things like that, or are you still optimistic with, of course, with vaccines and different things rolling out? So, like, where's your mindset right now with that?
Yeah, I've had this conversation with my mother and father, and I told them straight up like this: I'm worried about one thing, and that's graduating. I could care less about a prom or any of that stuff at this point. It's just like it's whatever. Like I've come to one with the fact that it's a low chance that it might happen. If it happens, good. If it doesn't, I'm okay. Like I hope for the best, but I brace myself for the worst. So as long as I get my diploma and I graduate, that's all that says. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I mean that's what's up. So I kind of want to know this. Um, how are you going to feel? I mean, I've been in the same position that you are in, but I kind of want to get your perspective on it a little bit. How does it feel graduating from somewhere where your parent, well, not your parents, but your parent, one of your parents went. Like, was it ever any pressure, or are you gonna feel proud? Like, kind of walk me through what you think like graduation day will be, because we already know your mother's gonna boo-hoo
Oh
to
God.
the end of the. I mean, well deserved. Let's not discredit her or anything, but we just know embarrassing wise, she's going to
Hmm.
boo-hoo out of this world. So, like as a son, how are you, feeling about that thing and being able to graduate from the same place in the same halls that she once walked as a student?
Yeah, a lot of people when you hear like the mom's the like principal or vice principal of the school that you go to, it's gonna be a hard. Like there is some things that come along with it. People aren't always gonna like the vice principal, and you got to deal with that in your ear. But I was able to. It changed because back when I was in middle school, like I told you earlier, I went back between my dad's and my mom's. But once
Mhm.
I went to Carroll, I basically got to see her every day. So that was a good change that I had. I mean, good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't a good day every day.
Yes.
So, but I got to see her every day, so that was always a good thing. But graduating and staying strong for the 4 years that I've been there, no matter what obstacle that I faced being there, I think her being there did help a lot in my routine of things and how I went about things. And I think graduating from there, she'll be very proud of me, and I'll be proud of myself because, like you said, I'll be graduating as a Archbishop Carroll Lion, and I think me and her will both be happy with that.
Man, yeah. I mean, it's a dope thing. Like I said, I had the same thing. My dad graduated from Carroll. My uncle graduated from Carroll, and I had a cousin that graduated behind me from Carroll. So it's just it's that thing, and I know it's gonna be it's gonna be a special moment. Like I said, I know your mom is gonna. Like I said, I hope she gets to enjoy it. Yes, we want to be optimistic where we can have it, even if it's safe, like even if you can literally only like invite your immediate family, like mom, dad, maybe your brother, socially distance apart. Because I mean, for people that don't know, we get for the Catholic schools in DC, for the high schools, they graduate in the shrine, which is a huge facility. You know what I'm saying? Even if to the point they put TVs, and because where we do baccalaureate and just stuff downstairs, even if they spread people apart, like you know what I'm saying? Like that's where my hope is and my optimism is. At least we can get done with something like that. You know what I'm saying? Even if we have to sit there with masks, you know what I'm saying? It's not the ideal thing for pictures or anything like that, but definitely, it's something. You know what I'm saying? You could still have that moment. You know what I'm saying? And I do kind of hope you guys that get that type of thing. Um, so like personally, what are you looking for? I guess let me back up. I'm gonna ask you this question. So let's say we're still in. I mean, I'm assuming the pandemic isn't going anywhere like that. Um, and like I said, you miss a lot of different moments that you probably you can't get back with certain things. Um, are you looking forward to, if you do you think about the fact that maybe your first semester you still may be in the house virtual learning for college, or some schools are allowing students, like how are you going to make that choice, as far as being on campus or staying home, being virtually, maybe your first semester or first year of college?
Uh, I mean, it all depends on where I end up going. Some places I'll be virtual because like if I got into Syracuse and I went there, it's kind of cold down there. So if I could stay home in this type of weather, I think I'd take the chance at that. But I'd still want the college experience. So if I could go down to college for the first semester instead of virtual, I would do it. I'd love to do it, but I wouldn't be too hurt if I had to spend my first semester in college in my room, just like I did my senior year. It's something I used to, but I'm just keeping the mentality that hopefully not all of my years will be virtual, and we'll eventually get over this hump of the pandemic and everything will eventually go back to normal.
Yeah, man, I definitely want to send out, because now personally, I'm getting both sides of it because I'm taking these classes right now. It's a slash certification program and a slash master's program that we're taking now. And man, this online stuff is is different. I'll just say it like that. I mean, it definitely sometimes it makes me sympathetic and empathetic, to the students. It's just like these, these professors are, but at the same time, I want students to understand that you have to be responsible, with certain things. And I don't want to say I went off, but this morning on Google Classroom, I let my classes, because literally all my emails were filled with submitted late, submitted late, submitted late. And I was like, listen, for my seniors, I definitely want to let y'all know later on this year, if college is, the path that you take, listen, that's not going to fly. I mean, I understand it is a pandemic, but those excuses, when you get to that collegiate level aren't the same thing. And I don't want you to take those bad habits. And I was just like, and I'm not even a long email type of person, but I sent the longest one for them today, as far as emails go, just to let them know, like, I'm not accepting, all of this stuff because I'm in class right now and I actually did have a late assignment. So I was looking forever when this class was supposed to start. Like I called the people, I was like, they didn't send us anything to let us know when our classes were starting. And the first email I get from the teacher was my first assignment was late. I said, like, well, what's going on here? I didn't know the classes started. So full transparency, I got first of all, it was a day late. But I got like a whole like 50% on this assignment. Now, I didn't got hundreds on the rest of the stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Like I had to take ownership of the fact that, all right, I didn't know when the class was starting, even though they didn't send me anything to let me know when the class was starting. But I just want my students to understand, like, it's a different level there. You know what I'm saying? Like, D's don't pass. These, sometimes you guys are like struggling to get, not you per se, but like sometimes students are struggling and thinking that, all right, man, at least I got a D. I did the best. Like, listen, you got to take that class again in college. Like, that's not where it is. And we just want to make sure everybody steps their game up. What is your motivation for, keeping your grades the way they are?
Mainly it's my grandmother, my mom, and my dad. It's not even about college at this point. It's just I know life is a lot smoother when my grades are maintained the way they've been the last few
Because your grandmother
semesters, the
was a
last few
whole
quarters.
principal
Yeah, so she's
and your
on my
mom is
back
a
about
current
keeping my
principal.
grades up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I know both of them. So I know definitely that has to be, a focal point for you to make sure that those grades are on point.
And I got two little brothers, and I know, like my dad, he'll mention it, and like they can't look up, because they both look up to me, and they can't look up to me if I have, a 2.5 or 2.3, and my grades are, and I'm slacking, and then they'll slack, and I gotta keep it up for them so that when they go into class, they're excited and they're ready to work.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So besides all this school stuff, do you got anything you working on? Anything that you looking forward to, or anything that, um, that, like I said, because we're at home and a lot of people are doing businesses and a lot of kids are just coming up with stuff. Is there anything on your plate that you got coming up that you wanted to talk about?
Oh yeah, I know a lot of my friends make hoodies and things like that. I've seen all that, but I decided just like you, I made a podcast for myself. I'm a big football fan, so I talk about that. I have a couple other friends I'm doing that with. Chalk Talk is our name. We do that every week. We post one every week, and we just talk about football for an hour. And that's another thing that helps my mental because you can ask anybody around me. That's all I talk about is
Yeah,
football, is
listen,
strictly football.
we exchange text messages all the time, talking trash. So this year wasn't a good year for either team, but we do talk trash. So good stuff like that. So just real quick, you said Chalk Talk. Is that the name of you said, because I know you were telling me earlier it comes on YouTube. Is that the
Hmm.
name of the channel on YouTube, Chalk Talk?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So, man, I want everybody to make sure this is what I want y'all to do. Everybody that's listening, go to Chalk Talk. I want you to subscribe. So every time he posts something, you guys are on it. Wow, that just changed behind me. That's crazy. Took my logo and just left. But we're not promoting nobody else's stuff, so we're gonna turn that off. But so make sure you guys go and subscribe and check out his podcast and he's doing, man. We got to support our young kings and make sure that we're supporting them in the things that they're doing. Like, he's out here doing something positive. There's a million other things he could be doing, and he's taking something that he loves and he's turning it into, you know, a passion and just doing things like that. So make sure you support him. Go to Chalk Talk on YouTube. When this posts, I'll have a link there so you guys can go straight to it and listen to his podcast every time it comes out. Now, is it just real quick? I guess this is personal. Is it just football, or you talk all sports?
Mm-hmm. No, we just talk football because, you know me, I like talking I can talk all sports, but I know with me personally, I know everything there is about football, so I just stick to what I know.
Oh, okay, cool. So you guys already know what that is. All right. So, man, I wanted to make sure we got an insight and we talk to our students. Sometimes we don't give them a voice. We're so used to preaching and talking to them that we don't give them an opportunity. Man, I want to thank you, Keith, for coming on here and just sharing your insight, being transparent to the listeners and making sure they kind of understand what you guys are going through. And hopefully, you know, we can work together to make this learning experience better for all. Because, you know, people don't know, we say it all the time on here, like, yes, the teachers are going through the pandemic as well. So we have to learn how to work together and make this work and make this experience, you know, even though it's a new normal, but we want to make the experience the best way we can. So you guys already know, make sure you go to all the platforms, make sure you subscribe, leave a review for the Given a Purpose podcast. Now, for the people that are watching that is on YouTube, you can watch this either on my YouTube channel, or you can go to Given a Purpose podcast, has his own channel. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you guys subscribe. We are doing great things out here during this pandemic, and we want to make sure we're keeping you guys focused. So make sure you guys live on purpose and make sure you live on purpose. It's your boy, Mr. LA. I will see you guys next week. Peace.
You've been listening to the Giving a Purpose podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play to get new, fresh weekly episodes. For more, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.